Well, greetings, world, and greetings, Seven Spot. What we're looking at is Tony rummaging around in his car, getting ready for our broadcast.
I'm going to trying to make things work.
Oh, that's all right. We are getting there. One moment. Hello, Tony. It's Jim Gould calling from Vancouver or Surrey, British Columbia, and it's a glorious 6 degrees here and raining. Tell me what it's like in Spain.
Well, here it's about 22 degrees, clear blue skies, and very warm.
Lovely. Just idyllic. Just wonderful. Folks, this is a very special broadcast because Tony's got an Argentinian 7. Chassis number 1028. Is that correct?
Correct.
Absolutely. And I am not going to profess to know an awful lot about them because my interest was only piqued because of you, my friend, because I, like the rest of the world, knows nothing about or knew nothing about the Argentinian 7 story. But it's an absolutely riveting story, and it's something that the world needs to know. So we're going to get much more on that as we go on. But why don't you, and one more thing, folks, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty thing today in that Tony's phone just refuses to auto-rotate to landscape mode. We apologize. We're going to do this in vertical mode. However, it's the car and the story that's the most important. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony, and Tony's going to tell us about how his car and show us the wonderful 7. And we'd love to hear his story. Okay, you're on and I'm out because, folks, this is never about me.
Well, it's not about me either. It's about the car. Do you want me to turn the camera around now so that we're actually looking at the car?
Sounds like a great idea, Tony.
All right, well, let's just see what we can do here. How about that?
That looks and sounds wonderful.
Okay, so you want to know a little bit about this 7?
I want to know how it got to be in Spain to start with. Yeah.
Well, I knew absolutely nothing about Argentinian 7s until I came across this one.
Mm-hmm.
My fascination with the Lotus 7 started when I was a mere lad of about 21.
Mm-hmm.
The phone's gone again. I've lost the picture.
No, you're okay. You're doing good.
Okay, well, I can't see anything anyway, so I'll keep talking to you. I was lucky enough to, when I was a lad of 21, I had a Lotus 7 S2 116E Cosworth, which in the day was the fastest road production car that Lotus had so far made. And it took my breath away. But I had to sell it in order to go traveling around the world, which is what I wanted to do. But everywhere where I went, whenever I saw a road that was suitable for a Lotus 7, I used to dream about the one that I used to have. So this one here now in front of me, when I'll tell you the story how I got it, is an actual dream manifestation insofar as I didn't go looking for it. What happened was Denise, my darling wife, and I, before we got married, we were in North Yorkshire looking for somewhere to get married in because we're both English and we wanted to have our families there. So there's a town in North Yorkshire called Pickering, which is a typical market town. And we were there on a bank holiday weekend when all the motorbikes and all the crazy cars all go out for a little run around the town. I was still getting to know Denise, and there was a roundabout where the traffic was circulating, and I could see this blue 7 replica kit car. I never did identify it. I knew it wasn't a Lotus, but it was just a very exciting 7 replica. So I turned to Denise and I said, do you know, I used to have one of those. She turned to me and she said, my daughter's ex-boyfriend has got one in Spain, close to where we live.
Wow.
So I thought to myself, yes, you know, there's all sorts of cars pretend to be Lotus, and there's all sorts of very exciting kit cars that actually are not Lotus. So I just sort of registered it, and I thought, well, that's wonderful. Okay. When we got back to Spain, Denise got in touch with her daughter, Kirsty, And the word very quickly got around that I was interested in this Lotus. One day, shortly thereafter, we went to a beach party at one of the beach bars, and there was Clive Sutherland, the owner of this car that is now mine. And Clive came across to me and he said, "I hear you're interested in buying my car." I said, "Clive, I haven't even seen it yet. Never mind even buy it." I didn't know it was for sale. So we agreed to meet the following day at the lockup where he had this car stored, because he hadn't used it for a couple of years. And what had happened was, so I went to the lockup, I saw the car, I fell instantly in love, as you can, and that's very dangerous. So I fell instantly in love with this vehicle. I checked out its provenance to discover that it was a genuine Argentine Lotus 7. Now, what had happened is Clive had been working in Buenos Aires. He was the Dean of English at the university there.
Wow. And
whilst he was there, he came across this car. He bought it. He brought it back to the UK. And then when he and Kirsty got together, boyfriend, girlfriend, he drove it down to southern Spain. Their relationship didn't last. So he put the car in a lockup, and off he went he was one of these lads that could sail around the world. He had a lot of panache. And his mother and Denise, my darling wife, they had been good friends for a long, long time. So Clive had come out to Spain to see his mother and to try and sell his Lotus. So so I saw it, confirmed the provenance, and bought it just like that. It's almost unbelievable.
It looks amazing. It absolutely looks smashing. I have to tell you that we're getting a wonderful view of the rear wing. I was wondering if you can slide. Yeah, that's it.
I can't see anything at the moment.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job. We're going to do this interview by Braille. You're doing. All you need is a little white stick.
So that's how the car came across my path. It was as though it was destined to be that she was in serious need of a custodian. When I bought it, I knew that I wouldn't be able to do anything for quite some time because I had a lot of work on the plate. So I just put the car to one side and hoped to get onto it within, I don't know, some couple of years maybe. But this was 2006.
Yes.
As we all know, in 2008 there was a global panic, and in southern Spain we were hit really, really difficult. So the business that I was running just became bankrupt, with lots and lots of other businesses. So I couldn't actually do anything to the car until 2012, when I began to think, well, it's about time I got onto this. Only to discover that although she looked beautiful from outside, there were a lot of problems with the car. Not least, it didn't have a handbrake. It apparently did not have a reverse gear. And when I took the carpeting away from it, you see, because Clive was in a rush to move on, and so he drove the car with me in for about 250 meters down to a roundabout, turned around 250 meters back. That was it. I was sold. I was sold on the idea. So I didn't actually examine the car. I didn't get a chance to examine the car. I just bought it on impulse. So when I came to remove all the carpeting, the transmission tunnel, which hopefully you can see that at the moment.
Very well, thank you.
The transmission tunnel was a total mess. It was clear that the transmission had snapped, broken away from the rear axle at some point, and had smashed around inside the tunnel, and it was beyond repair. So I put the car, at that time I didn't know anybody here who was specialized enough to be able to look after it. So I put the car on the trailer and I took it up to Britain to a specialist workshop, and they made this new transmission tunnel, which maybe I can show you. They made this new transmission tunnel, and they also fabricated for me a handbrake. When I say there was no handbrake, I mean there wasn't a vestige of the handbrake. The lever wasn't there, none of the mechanisms were there, even the rear drum brakes, anything to do with the handbrake had been removed.
Yeah.
So so those two things were done in Britain, and then I brought it back to Spain. And then when I looked at it closely, you could see that it wasn't really roadworthy, and it would never have passed the test to enable it to come into England. Let me just put the phone down.
Yeah, that's fine.
It would never in the month of Sundays have passed the engineering. Hello, I've just dropped.
No, you're fine. I can hear you fine, and we're getting a wonderful visual.
Okay, what of the sky?
Yeah, exactly.
So
well, yeah.
So it would. No. Excuse me while I fiddle. This bonnet is a right old game to get off and on, and I'm trying to show you the engine. So, and I'll keep talking anyway.
Yeah, you keep chatting.
What happened was that there was nothing in the car that would have passed an examination. So we had to start.
Take your time.
The first thing to do was to. It needed a complete new loom.
Yeah.
Which turned out we needed new headlights. We needed everything. Just a second.
Well, you can put the phone down and look after that, Tony. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, it's a real nuisance.
Yeah, no, it. Be careful. Just do what you need to do.
This one's more of a nuisance than most of them.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. Wait a second. Let me put the phone down. See if I can.
Yeah, put the phone down. Look after that.
Yeah, it's a right game, as you know. All right. So, right.
Yeah,
that gets the bonnet off, which I'm now going to place in the back of my pickup truck, so that it's. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Can you see things?
I can actually. The camera has frozen a bit. Are you pointing the camera at the 7? Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what? There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
You
We're
can
back
see
in.
it now.
Yeah.
So,
can you tell it? Go ahead.
No, what were you going to ask me?
Well, I was going to say, well, you can continue with the story, but perhaps a little bit later, for those of us who are totally uninitiated, you can tell us a bit about the powertrain on the Argentine 7s.
Okay. Well, this is the original engine. This is the engine. I have the sales document that specify it. This is the same engine that was in this chassis when the car was sold. This is the 1600cc, well, 1625 to be honest, overhead valve 4-cylinder. It was designed by Aurelio Lampredi. Yeah. Aurelio had a very spectacular history, in fact. He designed race-winning V8s for Ferrari. He then went to Alfa Romeo, and after a short time he came to Fiat. The first engine that he designed for Fiat was the 2400cc straight 6. And that went into the large Fiat saloon of the day. Then they chopped off 2 of the cylinders, and he got a 4-cylinder, and it was used in a car that was sold in Britain between 66 and 69 and called either the Fiat 1300 or the Fiat 1500. Got it. So this is the engine that was in the Fiat 1500, but that's the engine that would have been built in Italy. This engine was revised by Fiat in Argentina and was bored out to 1625 cc's. And as you can see, it's got a twin choke downdraft Weber, which you can maybe see there. And it's got this beautiful sculpted rocker box in aluminium, which I sort of fell for. Now, Lampredi went on to develop this engine by putting 2 camshafts on the head.
That's right.
And revised it, but that increased the weight of the engine, so it wasn't actually a great deal more competitive than what this one is. So I think that's the history of the engine. It's quite difficult because we've rebuilt the engine, but we had to go to Argentina to get all the spare parts because they're not interchangeable with the Fiat ones, because Fiat in Europe, they stopped making this engine. It was superseded by the 124 in 1969, and anyway it was only 1500 cc. So this engine is it's quite awkward because everything has to be sourced in Argentina. That was just one of the adventures. It's been completely there's a new loom. There is all of the dials and switches have been renewed. Well, in fact, I think almost everything mechanical on this car has been replaced or refurbished.
I love the steering wheel. It's amazing.
Yes, for the Lotus purists, they wouldn't care for this because it didn't come. It's an aftermarket add-on, which was already there when I bought it.
I still love it. It's wonderful.
Well, me too. I love it. We've had to bring it out from the dash a little bit so that I could get my knees in there and into the car and still steer it. We put a new steering, goes down there. We put a new steering, well, the whole lot. The whole thing, and all of the suspension at the front. Let me get down here, get out of my own shadow. All of this has all been renewed.
It's immaculate. It's totally
replaced.
Immaculate. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Well, it's a work of love, Jim.
Yeah.
It's a work of love because the car deserves it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. You see, I'm not an engineer. And I've never refurbished the car before. I just fell in love with it when I saw it. And I didn't really know what I was buying. Can you see that?
Look at that. Isn't that wonderful?
That's the 1028. That's the official stamp.
Yeah.
I am only the 5th owner of this car.
Wonderful.
I know the names, the addresses, and the dates of all the 4 previous owners.
Wow.
That I could, so and I've got a copy of the sales documents, etc. So
did Clive bring the vehicle to Spain?
Yes, he drove it down from England to Spain to be with Denise's daughter Kirsty, and they were together. Who imported it? No. It was still on Argentinian plates when I purchased it.
Oh, okay.
And when I took it to England to have the transmission tunnel sorted and the handbrake installed, I took the opportunity to put it onto English plates because it had come in through London or one of the docks close to London. So it had come into England and that paperwork existed. So it was relatively easy to get it put onto English plates. The advantage of that is that, at least at that time, England was part of the European Common Market. And so getting it changed from English plates to Spanish plates was, in theory at least, easier than what it would have been to have had it changed from Argentinian plates to Spanish plates.
Right.
So yes, for a short while it was on English plates, but it wasn't actually driven down the road as such. That was all part of the importation process. What it is now on are these historic plates. H for historic, 8428, which is beautifully balanced numerically, and BBF, which stands for Big Boy Fun. In my mind, so
That's
or
right. Well,
Bad Boy Fun,
well,
Bad Boy Fun, or Big Boy, whichever you prefer.
as you mentioned, I think it was yesterday, you said when you drive it, you don't hang about.
No, well, with this one, I'm still running in the engine. I didn't hang about with the one that I did have when I was a lad. I was 20 years old, 21 years old. I had a Lotus 7. I was crazy. I will admit it. I was almost psychopathic in my craziness. I'd get into it and go out and looking for something to race with. You know, but that was 1966. No, yeah, seriously. The motorbikes couldn't even keep up. They could keep up with it in acceleration, but not around the corners and
not
the bends.
in the twisties, not at all.
So here was me, really stroppy, lad. And so, no, I didn't hang about. That was then. At times, I don't hang about with this now either, because it's a real joy to. It's a real joy.
It's very easy to get enthusiastic, isn't it?
What I'm going to try and do is. That's neutral.
Better be sure, yeah.
Well.
That sounds lovely.
Now then.
That sounds great, Tony. Thank you for doing that. I've got a dumb question because, again, I'm learning more and more about these wonderful Argentine 7s, which there's a whole story within the many stories of these cars that needs to be told. But does that the drivetrain on it, is it also all Fiat as well, or is it still got the Oxford? I believe.
Excuse me. It's a 5-speed gearbox,
right.
which is Fiat, and the transaxle is Fiat.
Okay. Okay.
So
it's a transaxle. Wow.
Well, the rear axle.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So it is
the rear axle is Fiat. The whole mechanical bits and pieces are Fiat. It had to be that way because, and this is one of the reasons that the Lotus people in England are a bit funny about recognizing it as a genuine Lotus, and that is because not a single piece comes out of the Lotus factory. Richard Vignoles, who is the principal mover behind the making of this car, you've probably read the stories.
I've actually chatted with him online, so yeah. Great guy.
No, he's a fine fellow, Richard. And when I went to England, when I took the car to England, that's when he arranged for Peter Ross, who unfortunately has since deceased. He wrote a couple of articles on it for the Historic Lotus Register magazine. And Richard also arranged for me to go around to John Watson's house so that John could have a look at it.
Is this when you were doing the transmission tunnel?
Yes. This is when I was doing the transmission tunnel, but nothing else had been done. And when Richard took a look, when John Watson took a look at it, he was not too impressed. Well, he could see things that I hadn't yet seen. Which was it had a side impact at the front.
Oh, okay.
So it actually needed quite a lot of chassis repair. And so he was expecting to see a fully refurbished car, I think. And what he saw was this car still in need of 2 or 3 years of restoration, and he wasn't too impressed. I think John gets a lot of, even from South America, he gets a lot of people trying to get their cars registered as Lotus cars. And as he says, he cannot be the what's the role that that
I think is he the historian or is the I can't remember.
the person who validates the history of
Yeah,
these cars.
yeah.
He couldn't do so on behalf of the South American cars because he knew nothing about them. So that's why he's reluctant. That's another reason why he's reluctant to be able to acknowledge this particular car.
Yeah.
That's a story of how it got here, how it fell into my hands almost by magic, and which became my responsibility then, because I'm now its custodian.
Yes, you are.
And there's no intention of selling this. This is a beautiful little car. It hasn't done 1,000 miles yet since that engine was completely rebuilt. So this is mine for the next many years. I have no intention of selling it. I didn't do it to make money. I did it to realize the project.
And it's a very important thing to keep these cars on the road and to keep them in the hands. I mean, if they do get passed on, to pass them on into someone
to somebody responsible.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, for instance, your car's a wonderful little rocket, and I bet it really goes with that bike engine in. This is a different thing altogether.
It's a completely different thing. My story is brief. It's just that I wanted to have a project with my kids because my sons wanted to go into the trade. So let's build a car. So that's what we did. But it's very much a different story from what you've got.
No, but they're still off. I'm not one of these snotty Lotus owners that looks down on everything that isn't Lotus. I acknowledge and admire Caterhams, Westfields, Tigers, and all the other kit cars that people have built. In fact, the cars that people are building, some of them are quite.
We've lost the audio here, so I don't know what's happened. Perhaps Tony will be coming back into it in a second or not. But in the meantime, you'll get to listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. And if we can bring Tony back in, that'd be great. If not, I'm just going to tell you, folks, we've had a wonderful visit with Tony. And we do have even more attractions coming your way. This week, we have a twofer in Brazil because we have Enrique Menendez and Wellington Marquez who are building, one is building a low cost in Brazil and the other has one already finished. So it'd be interesting to see those two projects. And we're also got another low cost, hopefully. It looks like Tony has dropped right out. So you get to look at my smiling face, folks. We've got perhaps Petri and Tapio Koskola from Finland who have a bike engine low cost they go ice racing on. Now, it's been many, many years since I've watched ice racing, but I just got to say, we're in Canada and we love the snow and we love our motorsports. So I really am looking forward to seeing that car. We can get that together. In terms of plotting and scheming, we have other projects coming along too. We have something, I hope, that'll be coming along in New Zealand. I'm not going to say more than that, except it's going to be wonderful. We've got, no, it looks like Tony, is he coming back? Oh, there he is. He's back.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what. The phone just suddenly told me that that these apps were not working. So anyway, fortunately, we're back again.
I was just filling the time giving a commercial message from Seven Spot. so you go right on ahead with you were saying that you're clearly an enthusiast of
yes,
sevens, or you want to call them low cost or kit cars. You're an enthusiast.
This is the derivative.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, I had planned to buy a Caterham with a Hayabusa engine, but the individual in North America who was the marketing agent for it would not sell it in kit form. So that's why I had bought a low cost. And I like you, have the responsibility to hang on to to it for life. Not because it's a
Yeah.
special car, but it's special because it's in my heart, and it
Oh,
was
it's
built
special,
by
mate. It's
my
special.
kids. Yeah, it's special because
You built it.
Well, I built it, and my children built it too, Tony. So
Yeah.
when I pass on, it goes into their hands. It'll be their story to carry
Well,
on.
I don't have any children, which makes life a little bit easier, perhaps.
Yeah.
I do have grandchildren because Denise had children, and she's got grandchildren, 2 boys. In fact, it's the eldest boy's 10th birthday today, so it's still some time before he can even go in it. Never mind drive it. No, I think the Mark 6s are phenomenal. I think the Lotus 7 Series 1 is also a fantastic car, and the Series 2 and the Series 3, they are very, very special. And this Series 3 is equal to the 1969 chassis that Graham Nairn purchased to start his Caterham adventure. So this car is almost the same as early Caterhams, with the chassis and the specs, etc. This is a slice of history, and it just happens to be quite rare. And so from that point of view, she is precious, and the way that she came to me is precious because
it's an amazing story.
Well, yes, it is. It is an amazing story.
Yeah, and aside from the, this is what I love about Seven Spot, and this is what I love about doing these live streams, is these vehicles give us a portal or just a method to tell our own life story, and it's just amazing. I find, it's just
and we're all brothers underneath the skin because we're all enthusiasts. We all enjoy driving these machines, whether it's the original or any kind of derivative therefrom. It's
just leaving a message here from someone who's watching. What a fascinating history of this Blackmobile. Great car. Keep enjoying this unique vehicle.
Well, thank you very much to whoever sent that in. There is no doubt that I shall continue to enjoy it. One of the fortunate things about living here, Jim, is that we have fine sunny weather 320 days of the year. Yeah. So
you're right probably down on your, I'm going to say, am I correct? You're somewhere near the Strait of Gibraltar. Is that kind
correct?
Of where you're at? Yeah.
In fact, if I take this camera across here, I don't know how clear you can see. That's the Mediterranean Sea down there. And about 15 miles to the west is Gibraltar itself.
Got it. Yeah.
So that's how close we are. From my garden, I can see the mountains of Morocco.
Oh, wow.
So the big advantage of that is that the weather is very, very benign. So I can enjoy this car. I can enjoy this car almost year round.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
So well, is there anything else you would like to know?
Not at all. Well, you know what? I find the stories as riveting as the mechanical bits. Like you, I am not an engineer. My history is somewhat far from engineering or mechanical things together. I'd never built a car until my kids proposed that we get into trades. But you have told me a wonderful story about the car and really about your life, and that's kind of the nexus that I enjoy, is because it's really the stories of our lives that these cars help to tell. So, Tony,
well, here's the thought, Jim. Before we close off this conversation, because it's relatively easy to do this from my mobile phone, it can be done anywhere in Spain or anywhere within this area. I mean, there are the mountains. So what I propose is that sometime in the future, I can go to some of these more exciting cultural, historical places back in the mountains, and we can repeat this from there.
Absolutely, and in fact, that you're reading my mind, because I was dreaming on that as I was waiting in sleepless anticipation. I was up this morning at before 3 a.m. waiting for this to happen, and I was thinking
Jim,
of
you're
that.
as crazy as I am.
I am totally nuts.
Yeah, but listen, whatever gives us vitality
Yeah.
and enthusiasm as we mature,
Yeah.
that's worth pursuing.
Well,
And
I
it
think.
makes you happy. You're clearly very much enthusiastic about this whole thing. And as you know, I've known you, in
Yeah.
a cyber sense sort of way, since very early days
Exactly.
with Seven Spot,
Yeah.
because you appointed me as your European admin.
That's right. Yeah. You the man.
and and so I've watched Seven Spot grow,
Mhm.
and I'm still an admin with 777s, who was also a baby fledgling outfit at the time that Mango Man Pat
Yeah.
also appointed me to the somewhat suspicious role
And
of admin.
he's next on my radar. He's he's got to come and do a live stream with us, and we'll shame him into it.
Well, he's had his car off the road now for a couple of years because
I
he's been
know.
building up his business.
Yeah.
And so he's got to get his car back onto the road because
Mhm.
he is a nutter. He is
Mhm.
no, he is. He's a great adventuresome sort of guy. You know, he's South
I
African and he's done a lot of things.
I I can
So
hardly wait.
you've got to pressure him to get his back on the. He's been out here 2 or 3 times. This wiring loom is from him. It's one of
Good.
Premier's wiring looms.
Well, and that's exactly what I want to do. Is I want to work out something with Mango so that we can direct a lot of traffic. I mean, we're now getting a presence. So, I'm not going to blow our own horn too much, but we're beginning
Oh no,
to get
no, no! You are no blow it.
Yeah.
Let the whole world know.
We're getting a bit of a presence, and I would like to be able to direct traffic around to the different groups and the different people who can provide services to all of us nuts who love these cars, so that we can, that's all. That's everything that Seven Spot is about. We're not mark driven. We are here to celebrate the mark, and anything that we can do to help someone find a transmission, find a loom, find a car, whatever it is, to help people be more enthusiastic about the whole thing. That's my driving purpose.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So so he's been out here a couple of times helping me with the car. It's taken time to get to where we are, because it takes time to locate and source all the various parts necessary.
Yeah.
And it's also been done out of my pocket money. So it's moved forward at a slow pace, but I'm now so excited. I'm so thrilled.
Yeah. And I'm so thrilled for you, because we chatted about doing this presentation for months, maybe years, I don't know. But there's always been, we got hit with the COVID thing, and then, that put things into a, very slow pace, and literally everybody's got other concerns other than their cars at that particular point. But now look at it, it's just such a gorgeous, sweet little car. I just love it.
You can see why I fell in love with it at first sight.
Oh, I can.
I came to see it, and Clive was having trouble getting the engine running because the engine was in a bit of a state. So I saw it just like this, just like you're seeing it, with the bonnet off, and I just went for it. Wait a minute, the picture's frozen.
No, yeah, I can see you fine. Don't touch a thing.
All right then. Okay, I shan't touch a thing.
Yeah.
So it's a romance story, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a romance. It's a dream that came true.
No kidding.
And that's the amazing thing, Jim, is that I didn't go on to the market looking for a Lotus 7. I didn't think I would find one. I just had 50 years of memories from my first one, and even here, these roads around the mountains, so many times I thought, oh, if only I had a 7, how I could enjoy them.
Yeah.
And then suddenly this one fell into my lap.
Mhm.
So what? Yes. So
Well,
there you go.
there you do go, and we're going to wind it up soon because you've given us 30 minutes of your time, and it's just awesome. But I will say,
Terrific.
I will say this: I am, and as you can probably tell, I am absolutely riveted by the Argentine 7 story, and I've got so many people in Argentina that I'm communicating with right now,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
trying desperately to put together more of these stories because it's not well
Jim, there is
known.
only one other Argentine 7 in Europe,
Is that right?
and it resides in northern France somewhere. And it's the one with the twin cam engine.
Uh-huh.
And it used to be owned by a guy called Per Stromsteden. He actually came down here and had a drive with me in mine. And he commented how mine was just as lively as his was, even though his has the twin cam engine.
Yeah.
It's chassis number 1023. He's sold that since then to a chap who resides somewhere in France. But these are the only 2 Argentine 7s in Europe. You see, there were only 47 of them built to begin with.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So there we are.
There we are.
We can do this again.
I love it. Let's wind this one up and plot and scheme for another one. And in the meantime, we'll figure out how to put your phone into landscape mode.
We'll figure out how to put a brain in my head.
No, your brains are good.
A modern brain that's familiar with modern technology.
Never mind. You know what? I struggle with it too. Somehow I managed to get it done. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring me back into the picture because everybody needs to see us say goodbye.
Okay.
So
one request.
Go ahead.
Jim, I have one request. Can you share this with me so that I can post it on my FB page?
Absolutely. What I will do when we're done here is I'll download a copy of this and I'll send it by Dropbox to you so that you'll be able to download it and you can do whatever you want to. And also it'll be on YouTube, on our YouTube site. So I'll give you all the communication links that you need so you can do whatever.
Wonderful, my friend. Wonderful, wonderful.
Now,
okay.
Why don't you can you possibly put your picture back in? Because one thing that we have not done, there's one crucial item that's very, very, very important for us.
What's that?
Yeah, I need to see your face before we can discuss it.
You need to see my face.
Yeah, I do.
Tell that to Denise.
You're going to tap that button so that you can.
I'm tapping the button, but the phone. Excuse me. The picture.
Why don't you rotate the phone then so that the phone will be facing you?
Well, yes, okay. But just 1 second. The picture that I am seeing on my phone of my car has been frozen now for some time. And when I
can see it fine.
Yeah, but I'm trying to turn the.
All you have to do is. Turn
I can do it this way.
Yeah, that's
How about that?
That's perfect. Now,
all right, let me take my glasses off.
Okay. What I wanted to say is one thing is, we both got the pandemic hair going. That's the important thing. Right. Yeah. I'm
going back to my roots. I have no intention of cutting it.
Yeah, me too. I look at my darling wife, Wendy, and I say, you know what? I feel almost as degenerate as I did about 40 years ago. So, why don't we just wind this up now and look forward to the future? And we shall plot and scheme. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much, Tony. This has been truly awesome. And cheers for now.
Cheers, my friend.
All right. Bye for now.
All the best. Cheers.
Cheers. Tony, that was awesome.
Good.